How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Seattle Kraken franchise mode, episode number 37, headed into the second half of year number 9, the 2029-2030 regular season. Now, I am beyond excited to get back into this. The last week or so on the channel has been a lot of Shane Wright and playoffs and breakdowns and real-life hockey stuff. I'm excited to get back into this multiverse of madness that we have going in franchise mode and picking up with the Seattle Kraken, who are looking for another strong finish to the season. And when we left off at the halfway point of last year, Nathan McKinnon, 54 points in 41 games at the halfway mark, on pace for 108 at the age of 34. Maddie Beniers, point per game. Isaiah Marco, over point per game. Alex Tuck, new life in this year. Last year was a rough season, but he is back to almost point to game pace. Chris Moss, one of our young guns on the roster. If you're new to the team, here's some of the players that we're looking at, generated, of course. Vitaly Popov, our second line center, a pure playmaker with 99 passing. He's great. Chychrun, our defense has been very well. Our captain, Vladimir Tarasenko, been here since day one with the Kraken, now 38 years of age. He has 18 goals and 27 points on the year. He's looking good, and down the list we go. Now, in the last one, in the first half of the season, our new acquisition, Bowen Byrom, had 11 points in 18 games before getting a brutal injury that will keep him out until March. We still have a couple months left on that injury, and that's really hurting us. Goaltending-wise, we have Peyton Hollywood Wilm, our first-round pick, 19th overall back in 2022. He's now 25 years of age, and he is an elite goalie. 29-4 is his record. 4 shutouts, 903 save percentage, 2.84 goals against average, and his backup, Nick Malik, has not been fantastic. 5-3-1, good record, but 891 save percentage, not super impressive. So in the last one, we went ahead and claimed Freddy Anderson off waivers. We were considering maybe making a trade to get a new backup goalie, but when Freddie Anderson was put on waivers, I said let's jump at this opportunity. Looking at Freddie right here, he is 40 years old, 76 overall, but this year in the NHL, 9-3-0 with 2 shutouts, a 938 save percentage, and 1.85 goals against average. So you know what? Age is just a number. He's having a fantastic season. I don't really see a reason not to pick him up. Yes, we have other goalies. We have a third goalie in Marcus Hilpert, who's a medium starter potential, a 7th round pick in 2025. That's all cool and everything. But, his numbers are okay, actually, to be honest. But in the AHL, he's yet to really do anything in the NHL. In the AHL, it's decent numbers. I'm not going to, if it comes between having to rely on Hilpert or Freddie Anderson as backup, if we moved on from Nick Malik, I think I'd rather go with Freddie Anderson and let Hilpert just kind of fester away as a medium starter, because in our system, we have the elite future in Kelly, Malik, Drieger. These guys with elite potential will be our future after Freddie Anderson's long retired. So getting in the comments of last one, and I love when there's a discussion, I love when there's even some disagreement. I don't just look for yes men, I'm looking for people who are wanting to make this team stronger. That's what we pay you the big bucks for. Gen Z McKenzie says, I'm sorry, but claiming Freddie Anderson does not make sense at all. You have 82 overall Malik, 78 overall Hilbert, 76 Kelly, 75 Malik, 4 potential backup goalies in the organization, with the latter 3 being young, very young, and having good potential. And we claim a 40-year-old, 76 overall with AHL starter potential, who's being paid $1.6 million. He's likely to regress more as the season goes on because of his potential, which would make him even less of an AHL caliber goaltender. Why not give a chance to Hilbert as a backup or something? It's certainly more realistic than putting a goalie like Anderson in net. Now, Gen Z McKenzie, I fully see where you're coming from, but right away, here's my response to that. Kelly and Malik, take them out of the equation right away. 76 and 75 with elite potential. They both have minor starting goalie role. They're not coming up to the NHL this season. I'm not going to use them as a backup. So it comes down to Hilbert, Malik, and Freddie Anderson. So yes, those goalies, both those other goalies have higher overalls than Anderson. But in EA land, you can't look at the overall, you have to look at the performance. Malik's numbers, so-so. Hilbert, unproven at the NHL. Freddie Anderson this year has been amazing, despite his overall. Cap space, we still have $5.5 million. His overall may continue to go down, but it doesn't really matter. It's a one-year contract. So if he can perform, even if he's horrible, we bury him in the minors. But I saw this as a very low risk and potentially high reward situation, and that's why it made sense in my mind. Going forward, of course, our backups and even our future starter maybe will be people within our system. I'm not going to go out and look to get other people. We have the future in Kelly, Malhi, and Drieger. But for right now, Freddy Anderson is able to slot into that role despite being a 76 overall. He's put up the numbers that say, yes, I'm still NHL caliber. So those are my thoughts on that and why we're going to give Freddy Anderson a chance in this episode to potentially be our backup headed into the playoffs. Other comments on Freddy Anderson, that was the main topic of discussion in this one. Scott says, I would say giving Freddy Anderson a few starts in the next few weeks makes sense. If he outperforms Malik/Hilpert, go with him as the backup. Makes sense to me. Landon says, I think you should give Freddy the backup spot at least for the playoffs so he can bring some motivation in the locker room. So we'll see if he can prove himself for that. And possibly trade for John Klingberg, a defenseman on the trade block, to slot in for Bowen Byrom until he gets back. So that'll depend on how well our defense continues to do with Byrom out of the picture. Because while Byrom's been gone, we have Kozlov up here playing second pair. He did very well as a second pair defenseman last season, so I don't have a lot of reservations putting him in. I don't know why. I'm not looking for offense, but the offense has really dried up. His ice time is less than it was last year. It's slightly going up now that he has second pair minutes. But I'm okay with Kozlov being there for now if he can continue to prove himself in that role. Rolison and Morrison become the third pair. Rolison has played the entire 41 games of the first half of the season. Only has 3 assists, but he is a plus 11 and has those X factors and the elite potential. Tiny Morrison's the guy who's come in for Bowen Byrom in through 23 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, plus 2, despite the medium elite potential. So this guy's really killing me. If it were to be that John Klingberg comes in and then Rolison becomes our 7th D-man, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. But I'm going to keep giving these guys a chance to keep proving themselves. We've been having a very solid first half of the season and everything. Kobasu playing on the first pair. It looks like an unorthodox defensive core, but we're #1 in the Pacific Division, so I'm not going to be desperate for any changes just yet. Vinny adds in, Freddy Anderson should probably be the 3rd string goalie in my opinion for now, so test him versus Hilpert for a few games. If he comes out on top, then keep him there and send Hilpert down to the AHL and vice versa. If he has really good numbers, then he could challenge Malik's spot at the backup role, but it all comes down to how he can perform. That's exactly it, Vinny. And finishing it off over in the Discord server, JP Catalano says, I would make a push for a cup this year. Trade for Pavel Zacha, who's on the trade block, and get some help for our core. Especially since our prospects as a whole have had disappointing growth, it's time to maximize our opportunity to win a cup this year before the window shuts for good. Go Kraken. So also a very interesting suggestion in terms of the forward core, because at the center position, we're kind of playing a guy who's not naturally a center. Rickard Bergenheim, 82 overall. Yes, he has 78 faceoffs, but he is supposed to be a winger. So if we did get Zacha as 3rd line center, Bergenheim would bump down to the 4th line. And again, the team's doing well right now. At the trade deadline, we might want to, bulk up a little. We might want to put some extra reserves in. I'm very open to that. But at the moment, through the halfway point, I'm happy with how the team's been performing. I just want them to keep showing me more of what we've already seen. In our last 10, we're 6-1-3, not bad at all. We're on a little bit of a winning streak as well. 3 games in a row and 4-0-2 in our last 6, so that's great. We're going to pick it up here against the LA Kings, who are in 4th of our division, but just 5 points behind. They're 21-13-5. So let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. The second half of our 9th season. The journey for a 4th Stanley Cup in 6 years moves on. McKinnon's been great. The top line's been amazing. We're still missing Bowen Byrom, but if Peyton, Hollywood, Wilm can be solid, our defense filling in, and the scoring by committee, that will be all we need to have a strong finish to this year. Possibly the last year that we fully sim before we do the series wrap-up. First period ends 1-1. Brant Clark scoring on the power play, and then Braden Kobasu for us scoring on the power play. So I'm not sure why we had so many penalties there in that first. Yeah, so we took tripping, hooking, boarding, major. So there we were on the penalty kill pretty much the first 10 minutes of the period. So that's why I'm surprised we only let in one power play goal. Second period now, 3-1 Kraken. Kozlov short-handed. He hears me talking about his offense, and he scores not just a goal, but a short-handed goal. And then Ethan Bear on defense as well. The defense coming through. Yes, thank you very much. 3-1 Seattle headed into the third period. A big game with big Pacific Division implications. Power play goal from Isaiah Marco on Kevin Lankinen. And then 5-1 Alex Tuch. Yes, the boys have been missing the Seattle Kraken franchise mode. We're back after over a week, and they've had all of that just energy ready to go, and they let it out on the Kings. 5-1, outshooting them 39-19. Maddie Beniers gets in on it as well. Stays a point per game, maybe over a point per game by now, and we take it 6-1 the final, almost doubling the Kings' shots. 1, 2, and 3 goals in the periods. Oof, a goal and 3 assists from Maddie Beniers, the game-winning goal from Alex Kozlov, and 3 assists from Nathan McKinnon. Wow. What a night. That's what we want to see here in Seattle. Big win, 25th of the year, and we can continue in the calendar simulation. So we'll see in about a month or so. We'll see what happens by then. I'm sure something will pop up before then, but no big matchups really jumping out at me in the next few weeks here. We're taking on the Chicago Blackhawks, who are 21-19-3. At home, we beat them 5-1, so the win streak continues now at 5 games. Tiny Morrison, mild concussion. That's not going to be good for us defensively. We already had him as our 7th D-man in there. It's not a long injury, but it still is a bit inconvenient. So we'll have to call up a defenseman for that. And over in the AHL, let me see who it's going to be. We'll go ahead and call up Kalle Lundberg. Suglobov would be the guy in terms of overall, but Lundberg does not have to go through waivers. So we'll go ahead and call him up. 78 overall. He has some NHL experience, 22 years of age, medium top D potential, former first-round pick. 31st overall in 2026. I'd really like him to make the NHL. It's going to be a small opportunity, but hope that he runs with it. So I'll slot him into the lineup. In his NHL career, he was pointless in 9 games, but a +3. This year in the AHL, he has 25 points in 44 games, looking to be a breakout year-ish. He had 57 a couple of years ago, but we'll see what he does on the third pair with Caleb Rollison, and we'll keep on going. Lines in the AHL, just swap them up, and there we go. Continuing on in the simulation now, we're at home against the San Jose Sharks, and then the St. Louis Blues, 4-3 and 5-4 wins. Very nice. That's a 7-game winning streak now for your Seattle Kraken. Florida Panthers, we're taking them on. That's a 5-3 loss, which snaps the winning streak. But we come right back with a nice bounce-back win against the Predators, 5-1. Tiny Morrison is fully healed. Let me see how Lundberg did. Does he stick in that spot? Let's see. In 3 games, no points, but a +2. I like it. 3 games +2. That makes him a +5 in his career now, right? Morrison, +4, 2 points in 26 games. Yeah, I got to give it to Morrison because he has the potential. I want to try and get growth more out of him. But thank you, Kalle Lundberg. It was noted. Your efforts were taken note of, and we'll be keeping you in mind, of course, in the future. I'll go ahead and send him back down and fix up the line. That's all taken care of. Continuing on in our simulation, looking for a 30th win of the year, and there it is against the Pittsburgh Penguins, 3-1 victory. So with that loss against the Panthers, we have now won 9 of our last 10 games. Very, very nice. 30, 13, and 5 is our record as we get close to the month of February, and I have no reason to stop, I don't think. We'll just keep going full steam ahead. 4-3 shootout loss against the Islanders, and a 4-2 win against the Rangers. Little New York swing right there. 3-2 loss against the Bruins. Again, most of our losses always within 1 goal or overtime or shootout. Bruins, again, after the All-Star break, we come right back, and this time we win 7-6 in a shootout thriller. Now we're on a little bit of a road swing. No, just 1 game in San Jose. 3-2 overtime win. Love to see that. 33, 14, and 6 is our record. We may as well go and see the Leafs, the 36, 9, and 6 Toronto Maple Leafs, top of the Eastern Conference, likely top of the NHL. We'll see in a moment after these 3 games are played. The Predators are a 500 team. We beat them 2-1 narrowly in the shootout. In Washington now, we have an Eastern Conference swing coming up. Lundberg and Russell, 2 decent prospects, especially Russell. For this guy, Datsuk, instead of a medium top 9, no, I will pass on that. The Capitals are 20, 32, and 3. We beat them 6-3, and we beat the Hurricanes 5-3. So we have 78 points. The Maple Leafs have 84. Yeah, so this is the NHL leading Toronto Maple Leafs, who have been regular season juggernauts the last, 5-6 years, I want to say. We've beaten them twice in the Stanley Cup Finals in 2 of our 3 Stanley Cups. The other one coming against the Hurricanes, we just beat right now. They're looking for win number 40. We want to be challenging for best team in the NHL. This is going to be a good one, my friends. In Toronto, Kraken and Maple Leafs, February the 19th, 2030. Buckle up. First period action, 2-1 Kraken. Tarasenko, the captain, opens it up on the power play. Austin Matthews ties it back up on the power play just a few minutes after that. But then Rickard Bergenheim, our third-line centerman, puts us up 2-1. Need that depth scoring if we're going to be a contending team. Second period, 3-1 as Maddie adds one more. Our lead is now by 2. Shots 27-18, but then Tarasenko, second of the night, comes on the first shot of the period. 4-1 Kraken. Power play Toronto now. Early in the period, we kill that off. Strong special teams this year in Seattle. Power play, extended power play for the Kraken. Still going. The Leafs kill all of that off, but are still down by 3. They've come back in the shot department. We have 2 minutes to go, 1 minute, and that will be all she wrote. 4-1 the final against the NHL leading Maple Leafs. 34-29 were the shots in our favor. Look at that. The captain, 2 goals and an assist. What a season from him. He does not age. Rickard Bergenheim, a goal and an assist. And Peyton Hollywood Wilm, 28 save performance to get him the victory. We always love to see that. The Senators, the Canadiens, Tampa, Detroit. Let's go to see Detroit, the last game before the trade deadline. And we continue to think about any other changes we may want to make. Asher Maloney is still healthy. Headed into what will be the final stretch of the season. Maddie Beniers, mild concussion. He's out for about a week. So let's see what we're going to do for that. Byrom, playable injury, so he's going to be back very soon. Looking at forwards in the AHL, Rayala is our best. Piper, no waivers, but a 76 overall. I don't know, you know what? We played him in the preseason. Darius Piper, we played him in the preseason, and he did decent, I think. 3 games, 1 assist. You know what? I don't want to risk Rayala getting flamed off waivers. I'm like 90% sure that he wouldn't be. But let's give Darius Piper his NHL debut. 76 overall. We'll play him on the 4th line, and let's see what happens. So I'll fix up the NHL and the AHL lines. You know what? My bad. I don't know what the computer was telling me. I didn't read the message, but we have JT Compher. I totally forgot about JT Compher. So I don't know if maybe I said I have to send somebody down. I'll send down Hilpert if I have to. I'm going to take a chance at the deadline as well to check out the stats, because I said Freddy Anderson would probably be our backup, but then we just went on such a run that I didn't even think about it. But let me see how Malik is doing. Regardless, Piper will go back down. Sorry about that pump fake, Darius Piper. And JT Compher, who's our 13th forward, will be the one who slots into the lineup. Oh, I see what happened. It's because Tiny Morrison was also injured. So I don't know how long his injury is for, but he's also out. So the computer only gave 1 message, I see. So both Beniers and Morrison got injured in that game. So Compher slots in for Beniers, and now I'll call back up Lundberg to slot in for Morrison. All right, so that's all taken care of. Now I'm curious to see how long Tiny Morrison's injury actually is. So pausing here, after that 6-5 win in overtime against the Senators, we're here against the Canadiens. We're 38-14-6. Let's check out the injury report. So it's February 23rd right now. We know that Beniers is only out for like a week, pending evaluation. Okay, so it won't even tell us on the screen yet. Byrom will be back in just about a week and a half, or even about a week from today. So that would be very nice to get him back into the lineup. So continue to simulate right now. We'll go another few days and we'll see if the injury report comes out on Beniers and Morrison. Even though I remember Beniers not being too long. 5-3 loss there against the Canadiens. We're 8-2-0 in our last 10. And Bowen Byrom fully healed ahead of schedule. Okay. So we'll get him back in the lineup. That's going to be a huge boost for this team that's already been on a tear as of late. Back to the injury report now. Let's see if it gives us a date. So mild concussion from Morrison. He's back in a couple of days. That's fine. Beniers is still pending evaluation, but it said sometime in February, I think, if I recall correctly, unless it was mixing up Morrison's date. But regardless, we're ready to get Byrom back into the lineup as we're approaching the trade deadline, which is going to be a week away from the game against the Lightning. Any other changes to the lineup? Now Beniers is back, and I think Morrison probably is as well. If I look at defense here. So, yeah. So, Morrison's back to full health, and Beniers is a playable injury. So, let me go ahead and fix up those lines. We'll send Lundberg back down. I think he just played in 1 game, right? And he ends up having now 4 games played. Yes, and still +2. So, a lot of line changes in this one. Morrison goes back to being 7th defenseman. and Bowen Byrom draws back into the lineup. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, +9 for Tiny Morrison. Not too bad, not bad at all. But Rolson, I don't know, he's been better. He takes more penalties, that's for sure, but he's been just better overall, I believe. So he'll be on that third pair. Kozlov goes back down to the third pair. He played a lot of second pair minutes, and he's been very steady. Hopefully he brings that to the third pair, and I'll go ahead and make those changes. All right, so defense is all fixed up. Bowen Byrom is going to be playing with Ethan Bear on the second defensive pair. That's a monstrous pair. Third pair is Kozlov and Rolson. They're both 6'5". No one's getting past them. That's going to be great. Goaltending, I'm still going to keep rolling with Wilm and Malik. I think Malik's numbers have gotten better. 904 save percentage, 2.62 goals against. But I do want to give some experimentation to Hilpert and Anderson. So on some lower stakes games, I think that's what we're going to go ahead and do. For example, a game against the Detroit Red Wings. But I do want to see the Lightning game because this is Bowen Byrom's first back in the lineup. He had 11 assists in 18 games. Let's see if he can keep up the pace that he was on. He had, what, like 3 months and 3.5 months of just sitting at home and just thinking, growing that hockey IQ. So hopefully he is going to be better for it. And the first period starts off with a bang. 3-0 Kraken, McKinnon, Moss, and Marco. Moss scoring on the power play. Second period, 3-1, as Verhaeghe scores shorthanded. We're up 3-1. Shots 28-12. 1 goal and 12 shots against Peyton Wilm. He needs to not let in any more, at least for another 20 shots. Power play, Tampa Bay, we kill it off, and Kobasu makes it 4-1 and extends our lead to 3 now. I think just his 5th of the season. Power play for Tampa Bay, we kill it off once more. 3-goal lead, 5 minutes to go. Moss gets his 2nd of the night. It's a 4-goal lead, and that'll be a win for the Seattle Kraken, and it ends 5 on the final shots, 39-22. 3 stars in this one. Moss with 2 goals, Marco and Kobasu goal and an assist apiece. Bowen Byrom, just curious if there's anything to see here. 1 assist from Bowen Byrom and a +1. Love to see that. 2 hits, and he is back now. 12 points, 12 assists in 19 games played here in this first season as a Kraken. So headed into this game against the Detroit Red Wings, Beniers should be fully healed. Yeah, he is now fully healed, so that means we're back to full health, something we have not had since the very beginning of the season. Tarasenko, I moved him up to the second line. He's been playing great. He's closing in on 30 goals. JT Compher down on the fourth line. He had a goal and 2 assists in 4 games, so no points. Or was it in 3 games, but no points in the last few games there for JT Compher. He did all right enough on the fourth line. But now we can get back to looking how we would like to look, which is just like this. And there we go. So I'm going to try Maddie Beniers at center. He's been playing left wing most of this year, but you know what? Popov on the wing might not be a bad thing because he's an amazing playmaker with 99 passing and all that. But 75 face-offs, if we go into a game, that could hurt us. And Maddie Beniers, the guy has 92 face-offs. I think it would just be better if we put him at the center position just to alleviate any of those potential, I don't know, mistakes that might happen at the dot when we go in to watch games, especially in the playoffs. So that'll be the lineup. Goaltending, I'm going to put Marcus Hilpert in nets for the next game. He's going to make his NHL debut against the Red Wings from a 7th round pick to the NHL. Will he be able to be the guy who gets us win number 40 on the year? Not making that trade with the Avalanche. No, thank you. If we could go back. There we go. So the 5-1 win there against the Lightning, and now we're coming into a home game against Detroit. It's the last game before the trade deadline. We'll take a moment to look at all the stats as well. McKinnon's been killing it. Already guaranteed to go above a point per game once again. March 2nd, 2030 at Climate Pledge Arena. Let's do it. First period, 0-0. Second period, 2-0 Kraken. Maddie Beniers, welcome back. And Isaiah Marco up in that top line. Shots are 30-12, close to tripling Detroit's shots. But it's only 2-0 Kraken headed into this final 20 minutes. 5-on-3 power play for the Red Wings. 5-on-4, huge kill by Hilpert and the Penalty Killers. Pasi Lume makes it 3-0. I believe his 11th goal of the season, playing in the bottom 6 this year, mostly on the 4th line, even though he's such a good player, just not a lot of room for him. Final 3 minutes to go now, 2 minutes, final minute, oh my goodness, and Marcus Hilpert in his NHL debut. From being a 7th round pick to recording a shutout in his NHL debut, shots ended 44-21 for the Kraken, more than doubling Detroit's shots. And it's got a air. What? I'm so sorry. Because it advanced today, so I put Wilm back in net. So, you know what? Hey, Peyton, Hollywood, Wilm, 21 save shutout. I'm happy for you, buddy. But I was really hoping Hilpert was going to get a shutout. Oh, Beniers and Marco, the second and third star. All right, Peyton, hey, you did well. I forgot that with the auto-rotate goalie, it would put the better goalie in after I advanced a few days. So, but that's win number 40. We're 9-1-0 in our last 10. Nothing to be disappointed about. Peyton, Hollywood, Wilm just putting on red carpet performance. Let's check out the scoring headed into the trade deadline now. Do we want to think about any different changes or anything like that? McKinnon, 84 points in 61 games. Marco, 64 and 57. Beniers, over a point per game. Tuck, 54 and 61. Popov, 51. He's likely going to be setting some career highs this year, correct? Yeah, just a couple points away from doing so. Moss, 30 goals, 50 points in 61 games. The man is possessed. He's on pace for, what, a 40-goal season. That's crazy. Tarasenko, 26 goals, 44 points. Chychrun, 42 points, plus 16. The pluses minus on the first line, of course, also crazy. Asher Maloney, 36. Bergenheim, 12 goals, 31 points. I like it for third-line center. Pasi Lume, 21 points as a fourth liner, only getting 8 minutes a night. I like that as well. Ethan Bear, 21 points and a plus 25. Manning, the rookie, 11 goals, 20 points on the fourth line. Kobasu getting first pair minutes, playing 23 minutes a night, only 14 points, which is a bit odd, especially as an offensive defenseman. But hey, he's not hurting us. Tikhonov, 12. Byrom, 12 assists in 20 games. Rolson, 11 in 61. Kozlov, Morrison, good plus minuses. And there are the forwards. Going to the goaltending. Wilm is 32, 12, and 5 with 5 shutouts. 903 save percentage, 2.75 against. Malik, 9, 3, and 1. His record's gotten a lot better. 904 save percentage, 2.62 goals against. So in this last little stretch, I want to give at least a couple games to Hilpert and a couple games to Freddy Anderson if it should come about that we need some sort of spark from goaltending in the playoffs, as we often do in EA land. I'm going to scroll through the trade blocks. I'm going to see if anything really speaks to me. If Klingberg or Zaka are still on the blocks, I'm going to see if those deals kind of make sense for us, and I'll come back with any potential suitors. First off, over in the Chicago Blackhawks, there is Alexander Nylander, who has scored 14 goals and 51 assists, a true playmaker this season. 65 points in 62 games, consistently scores 50-plus assists per year on the Blackhawks. He's played 802 games with the Hawks. He's really exploded in the last, I don't know, since like 2024-25, 60-plus, 70-plus points every year. He's on the last year of his deal, and he is a fit for the second line. Now, the thing is, he would probably cost a good amount to get extended. But do we take him in as a rental or try and take him in as someone we try to re-sign, and who goes out the other way? That's a difficult thing to consider if we want to go and get Alex Nylander. Some other names out here, like Carson Lambo. I don't know, like, do we want to go for the bigger name or just that depth rental? And like Drouin has the same amount of value, if not more, than Nylander. Now, if we were to try and acquire Alex Nylander, we'd have to say, okay, we could send the Blackhawks a guy like Kalle Lundberg, a player that they want, and a guy who maybe we can come to the acceptance of. Maybe we don't have room for him in the NHL, / there's just too many defensive prospects in our system. We can come to that realization perhaps and just capitalize on the value that he has left before it starts to go down further. Lundberg, and then we have to send if we send a player who has a roster spot, I was thinking, I don't know, maybe Asher Maloney, since he is on an expiring deal. He does want like $5-ish million to re-sign. That's the biggest thing. If Maloney would take, I don't know, he's going to cost $4 or $5 million to re-sign as an 84 overall who gets 40, 50 points. How about we just spend the extra million and we get Alex Nylander, who gets 50 plus assists a year? Pasi Lume, also a guy that we could dump, but he wouldn't be, then Maloney drops to the fourth line. What makes Maloney moving out interesting is that Nylander can take his spot on the third line, but he fits the second line. So maybe Popov drops to the third line then. Popov becomes a third liner, but we're paying him like a second liner. We're paying him 5.75? Popov becomes a third liner, and Nylander plays second line with Beniers and Moss as just a crazy playmaker for Beniers and Moss, who are more goal-oriented. And then the third line next season, if Tarasenko were to retire, for example, could be Popov on the left, Tikhonov at center, and Bergenheim on the right if Tikhonov grows enough and Tarasenko drops enough or retires. There's a lot of variables at play here. If Byrom next year is going to be wanting If we can get him for an under 7-ish, that leaves us maybe like 10 million to play with. And Maloney, he's gonna want. That's the kind of the crazy thing. Even if we get him for cheap, he is an RFA, so we could qualify him and get him for cheap later on. But right now, he's wanting in the high 4 millions. That leaves us with what, 5, 6-ish to play with. Lume, Bergenheim, Tarasenko, and the same thing. But if we move up Maloney and take in Nylander, will he want even more to resign? That's the scary part. So you know what? I thought about it, but I don't know if we can take that risk. Nylander would probably, he's on a point per game pace. In my experience, those guys want 9, 10, 11 million. Even if we get them 85%, I don't think we have the money to do it. So oftentimes when I have these discussions with myself, I often cut that out of the episode because it just takes up a lot of time. But I'm going to leave this one in. I want you to see that I'm actively looking at ways to improve this team, but I got to think about the future at the same time. I just don't think it makes sense. Now, that being said, I think I'm going to try and extend Bowen Byrom here while we have an opportunity to do so. As the years go on, defensemen want crazy money in the NHL. So 4 years would bring Byrom to the age of 32. Although it's a bit cheaper to go less, I'm going to try to go for 4 years. And 85% of what he's asking for would be 6.75. So 4 years at 6.75 for Bowen Byrom would be amazing. That brings him to 32, and we can figure out what to do with him from there. I don't want to start going to the 8. Well, from six years would be quite a jump in the asking price. But for 5 years, he wants 6.95. So 1 extra year brings him to 33. With the way defensive development goes, I might just do that. Yeah, 6.95 for 5 years as opposed to 6.75 for 4 years. That's how good Bowen Byrom is, I think. He's shown good things so far this year, and I'm willing to offer him that extension. So we'll see what Bowen Byrom thinks about that. Asher Maloney, all these RFAs, we'll have to deal with them later on. Vladimir Tarasenko will deal with him later on. He wants way too much right now. So I'll just do that, the pending UFA Bowen Byrom. I looked into Pavel Zacha. The guy, he only has 3 goals this year in 60 games. I don't think there's a move that makes sense for us right now. We have what we need, and I think we're just going to go ahead with it because the guys, these older guys, and hey, great, Bowen Byrom has decided to renew his contract with us, but there's a logo of the New Jersey Devils next to it. That makes a lot of sense. That's great. But at least Bowen Byrom is signed on and extended. That is a huge relief for us. 5 more years of Bowen Byrom. Heading into the trade block now. We might as well enter the trade deadline. Usually I don't, but just to look at what's going on, why not? Kirby Dach, Carson Lambos, Brendan Carlo, Rasmus Anderson. Yeah, Blackhawks are really selling off on a lot of people. Ducks, Wild, and Bruins all interested in Alexander Nylander. I don't think it makes sense. Hold on, trade here. From the Rangers, trade Anderson, Henriksen, and Lindholm to Nashville for McDonald. Okay, nothing really big. But I'm just going to go ahead and exit the trade deadline. Just wanted to see who the big names were. Ryan Strome being placed on waivers here after the deadline. This is the type of guy we could pick up if we really need something for depth, but we don't, I don't think. 78 overall, making $2 million. No, not really worth our time, I don't think, unfortunately. Sorry, Mr. Strome. We'll decline that. So after the trade deadline, let's see what some of the bigger moves around the NHL were. Other trades in the day, Jordan Spence to Calgary, Pinelli to LA with Elias Anderson, GOALIE to Ottawa, William Eklund, Logan Stanley, and Trennan. Yeah, is it Yarkov Trennan? To the Coyotes. Wow. What else? Ryan McLeod to the Predators. Vitaly Kravtsov to the Oilers. Jonathan Drouin back to Montreal from Chicago. Christian Vesalainen to LA. David Jiricek, our old friend David Jiricek. And Riker Evans, both of them go to the Flyers. That's funny. Michael DiPietro and Max Jones going to Edmonton. Josh Morrissey to Vancouver. So some big moves around the NHL, that's for sure. The Seattle Kraken stay put. They have not made a move since the offseason pretty much, aside from claiming Freddie Anderson off of waivers. Speaking of Freddie Anderson, we'll try to set up the final games of the season here as we just go down the stretch. A lot of Pacific Division matchups, so I'm not sure if these are the ones that I want to put those guys in for. A lot of really tough games, actually. Probably the ones against Calgary. And there's a lot of tough, man. And maybe Colorado. I gotta give them some tough opponents though somewhere in there. And when it comes to the Pacific Division, we're ahead by 7 points over the Oilers. You know what? Let's just go for it. Against the Coyotes here on the road. I'm going to give Hilpert this one against Arizona. All right, Marcus Hilpert in there. The Coyotes are 8-2-0 in their last 10. Here we go. First period, 0-0. Second period, still 0-0. Shots 23-18 for the Kraken. Neither goalie has let anything squeak by until a power play for the Coyotes, and Emery puts the Coyotes on the board. But Vladimir Tarasenko, the captain, ties it back up. He's closing in on 30 goals. Halfway through this third period, shots now 32-24 for Seattle. 6 minutes to go. It's all Seattle. And Nathan McKinnon puts us up 2-1 on the 36th shot of the night. Thatcher Demko's been standing tall, but the Kraken come away with a 2-1 victory. Game-winning goal going to Nathan McKinnon, and in his NHL debut, Marcus Hilpert, the 7th-round pick, gets second-star honors with 25 saves. Demko first star. He got let down, unfortunately, but Hilpert played very well, and Nathan McKinnon, the game-winning goal. Big win for the boys there, and Marcus Hilpert showing that he can do it, you know? So a lot of Pacific games coming up here, back-to-back. I think it's Ducks, Kings, was it then Knights and Knights? A few of those in a row there. So the Ducks are 3-7-0 in their last 10. I'm going to give Hilbert the night off, and I'm going to go Freddy Anderson, backed up by... actually, would Hilbert have to go through waivers? No, he's not. So Hilbert's going to go down, and Wilm will back up Freddie Anderson. So here we go, 40-year-old Freddie Anderson making his Kraken debut in the year 2030. His stats say that he's still got it, so let's see if that is still the case a few months after we claimed him against the 32-27-5 Anaheim Ducks at the Honda Center. Can he prove himself? Because Malik's been playing well, and Hilpert just had a big win, so he's got to look solid. First period, 2-1. Lume opens up the scoring. Chubarov shorthanded soon after, but then Rickard Bergenheim on the power play. 2-1 Kraken. Second period now, no scoring. Shots 27-15 for Seattle, and we're into the third. Power play Anaheim now. We kill that one off. Was it shorthanded from Chubarov? Yes, it was. That was an odd one. But halfway through the third period, shots 32-21. Noel Gunler ties it up at 2 now. This is going to be a tight finish as shots are getting a bit more even. Anaheim coming a bit more strongly here, but Seattle with a strong finish as it's now 37-27 the shots finish. We're headed to overtime with a 2-2 game after 60. Will there be any overtime heroics? And yes, there is. It's McLeod. 3 goals on 29 shots past Freddie Anderson. Not horrible, but not as impressive as some of the other goalies. 37 save performance from John Gibson as well. I think he was the decider in this one. Tough loss there. At least we get the extra point. And Freddie will keep that performance in mind. Now heading to the LA Kings, who are 2-5-3 in their last 10. I think we'll go back to Hilpert, who will once again now be backed up by Peyton Hollywood Wilm. And I'll swap you back to the AHL. All right, Hilpert's in. Let's see what he can do on the road against the LA Kings now. He had a very strong showing in that 2-1 win against the Coyotes. Hopefully the scoring can continue to come through for him a little bit here. Let's do it. Fly through it. First period, Tikhonov scoring 1-0. Second period, 3-2. Yikes. Vesalainen, Anderson puts the Kings up to 2-1. Yes. Then Chychrun ties it up on the power play 2-2, and Vesalainen second of the period. 3-2 Kings. Third period now. We're down by 1, but Tuck quickly ties it up. Shots tied at 17. 3 goals apiece. Neither goalie looking super solid. Power play for the Kraken here. Killed off by the Kings, but then Vitaly Popov on that second line left wing makes it 4-3. A rare goal from Popov, the playmaker. Power play from the Kings is killed off by the Kraken. Final 5 minutes, up by 1. Can we hang on tight? Shots tied at 25, and we do. A hard onslaught from the Kings. They had 4 shots in the last minute or two, but we hang on for the 4-3 victory. 3 goals on 29 shots, same as Freddie Anderson. Kozlov with 2 assists, hey? And Maddie Beniers 2 assists as well. 4-3 victory for the Kraken. Let's get Peyton Wilm back in here. Thank you, Marcus Hilpert. Thank you, Freddie Anderson, for your little mini auditions there. We'll go back to Wilm and Malik for a little bit until we have another maybe favorable matchup. So let's go till we see the St. Louis Blues. That'll be a tough matchup. They're a 40-plus win team. 4 games between now and then. We beat the Kings 4-3, and then a couple days after that, we beat them 4-3 again, but this time in overtime. Vegas, we beat them 6-3, keeping the win streak alive, and then we see Vegas again day after in 7-3 victory. Okay. Dallas Stars now, we take them on at home, 4-2 win. So 46 wins on the year. We've won 8 of our last 9, and we're on a 5-game winning streak. But we're up against the Blues, who are 49-19-1. Are they the best in the NHL? No, the Leafs are the best in the NHL. So they're the best in the... Well, actually, we're tied for best in the West. We have one game in hand over them, so this is a big one, as it's Kraken and Blues here in St. Louis. Potential Western Conference Championship on the line here. Let's see it. First period, 1-0 St. Louis. It's Earl Ray, a high draft pick from the Blues many years back, I believe now. Second period, early goal from the Kraken, tying it up. Isaiah Marco, 25 seconds into the period. Shots 23-17 for St. Louis, headed into the third. Power play for the Kraken early, killed off by the Blues. 1-1 game it remains, but Vladimir Tarasenko against his old team. 9 years after leaving his old team, the captain of the Kraken makes it 2-1, but then the Blues come back. Artemi Panarin ties it up. It's Malik in nets, but then Beniers makes it 3-2. I didn't see that it was Malik in nets. I thought that the computer would have put Wilm, but Malik is standing tall in a huge matchup, and it's a 3-2 victory for the Kraken. Shots end 30-29. Malik really proving himself as probably the backup we're going to stick with. Chychrun 2 assists, Beniers a goal, Panarin with a goal. It's good to have that insurance in the system, but Malik with a huge showing right there against the St. Louis Blues. That puts us atop the Western Conference and clinches our spot in the playoffs with 101 points through 69 games. So you know what? I think I'm comfortable to continue simulating now. This team has been good enough that I can trust them. I'm going to go until the scouting reports are over, which is the first few days of April. We'll update the scouting after these games, and then we'll do the final little stretch here. Against the Hawks, we lose 3-2 in Chicago. A couple games against the Flames now. 4-3 shootout loss against Calgary. Then that was at home. Now we're on the road at the Saddle Dome, and we win 11-2. Wow. Just absolutely bombarding the Flames. Then we lose 2-1 the next night after scoring 11 goals. Then a 4-3 loss against the New Jersey Devils. We're 48-18-8 against a 20-51-4 Avalanche. You know what? I'm gonna give Freddie Anderson a start right here. Let me update the scouting, get him between the pipes, and then we'll roll with it. All right, scouting's done. Always a long process. Freddie Anderson between the pipes at Climate Pledge Arena against the 20-51-4 Colorado Avalanche. We're closing in on 50 wins, and I really want Freddie Anderson to do well here. Malik might be losing his job to Hilpert, I don't know, and Freddie Anderson might be falling behind in the race unless he has a good night tonight. So let's do it. First period, 2-0 Kraken, Moss and Mckinnon. Nathan McKinnon against his old team. Shots 16-4, quadrupling through the first period. Second period, 2-1 as Holmstrom gets one past Freddie Anderson. We're doubling the shots, 30-15, but it's only a 2-1 game. Power play Colorado early in the third period is killed off by the Kraken. Shots now 34-19. Not a lot of anything going on, but it's a power play goal from Maddie Beniers. Power play right back to the Avalanche. They cannot answer. 5 minutes to go. 2-goal lead for the Kraken. Shots 40-24. Sjödin brings it back within 1. Final minute, and the Avalanche cannot get the comeback complete. 2 goals on 28 shots past Freddie Anderson, and the Kraken hang on for the 3-2 victory. A bit of a late scare, but Beniers a goal and 2 assists, McKinnon a goal and an assist, and Freddie Anderson, 3rd-star honors with 26 saves. You know what? Even if he doesn't become our full-time backup or whatever, it's nice to see him doing well at the age of 40, and it's a fun story for us nonetheless. I like it. 30, 38, and 8 are the Minnesota Wild. I'm going to give Malik the start in this one, as he hasn't played much recently. Now 31, 38, and 8 are the Wild. Freddie Anderson will go back to being a scratch here, as Wilm will back up Nick Malik. And there we go. At the XL Energy Center, looking for win number 50. Let's do it here on the road. 4 points away from 100 is Nathan McKinnon. First period, 1-1 game, Beniers and Kaprizov. Second period, 4-1 Kraken. Beniers, Tikhonov, and Beniers once again, giving him a hat trick through less than 40 minutes, through like, 38 minutes and 50 seconds. 4-1 Kraken, a hat trick already to Maddie Beniers. 3-goal lead for the Kraken head into the third period. Oliver Ekman-Larsson makes it 4-2, but then Chris Moss restores the 3-goal lead. 5-2 Kraken. Let's call it right there. Ends up 6-2 as Maddie Beniers scores his 4th past Vitek Vanacek. What a night. possibly the most of his career. I think that's probably the most he's ever scored in one game. 4 goals for first star honors for Maddie Beniers, 3 assists from Popov on that left wing, and Chris Moss a goal and an assist. Big night for the second line. Is that a single game record potentially for most goals in a game? And he ties himself, actually. There you go. So Maddie Beniers in 2025 and 2030. 4 goals in a single game. Another huge night from him. Lifetime Kraken player so far. Mr. Kraken getting it done. So I'm going to keep the lineup like that. The goaltending is like that, I mean. We'll allow Wilm and Malik to be the guys to end off the year, barring anything we might want to do towards the end here. Any week, maybe the Canucks, actually. I'm going to try to just do a lot of this off screen. I don't want to bring you through every single game. That's 50 wins for the Kraken, and Malik strained hamstring down in the AHL, which means Hilpert can get some AHL minutes while he's not playing in the NHL. That's nice, as Cole Kelly backs him up. Dallas Stars in Dallas, who are 41, 29, and 8. We shut them out 2-0. Likely Peyton Wilm right there. So Wilm's looking good headed into the playoffs. We want to make sure that he's getting enough rest. Unless it was Malik who got the shutout. Did he already have a shutout yet this year? I'm not sure. I don't quite remember how many Wilm was at, but regardless, I'm going to go Freddie Anderson for this one. Likely his final start in the NHL, as I wouldn't be surprised if he retired. So Freddie Anderson, take one last skate, my friend. He has life at the age of 40, and it is at Rogers Arena against the Vancouver Canucks, who are 31, 38, and 10. Mckinnon still just 4 points away from 100. Let's get this one underway. Hopefully it's a strong one. First period, 1-0 Canucks. Second period, 3-1 Kraken. Chychrun on the power play. Bear shorthanded. And Tarasenko on the power play. The special teams are coming through. Shots 31-21 for the Kraken through 40 minutes. Let's just call it a day, and it's a 4-2 victory. Put Coles on the power play, Tarasenko on the power play. All 4 of the Kraken goals coming on the special teams power play or penalty kill. The shots ended 39-35, 33 saves on 35 shots for Freddie Anderson. First star honors. 2 goals from the captain, a goal and an assist from Chychrun. He's not making it easy. These backup goalies have been hot, I gotta say. And I want to give Peyton Wilm enough starts down the stretch as well. Injured shoulder for Caleb Rolison, which means Tiny Morrison will draw into the lineup. I'll give Malik the next start here. He's been playing well. It's really tough for who's going to be backup heading into the playoffs. But here we go against the LA Kings. Actually, got to make sure that it's probably swapped back to Peyton Wilm. That's all taken care of. Tiny Morrison's in the lineup. Nick Malik will get the start against the LA Kings. It's a real tough, a real tight race down the stretch here for who's going to be the NHL, who's going to be the backup into the playoffs. So here we go against the Kings at home. They're 39, 28, and 12. They want win number 40. They're fighting for the playoff positioning as well. First period, 1-0 Seattle. Tiny Morrison back in the lineup, filling in for Rolson, and he scores his 3rd of the year. Look at you, buddy. Second period, 3-1 Kings. Ooh. Prokhorkin, Hemingway, and Genze. 3-1 Kings after 40. 3 goals on 25 shots past Nick Malik, whatever you want to call him. Power play for the Kings. We're down by 2. Being outshot 33-24. We're coming back in the shot department, but halfway through the third, we're going to need something late. Here we go. There's Pasi Lume bringing us back within 1. That's big. Looking for the big dogs now who want to tie this one up. Alex Tuck, I'm thinking about maybe. Final minute. No, Robertson will add the empty netter, and that'll be it. 3 goals on 39 shots there as Lankinen gets second star. And Malik didn't do too bad, but tough break. Final 3 games of the year now. I think I'm going to go... I'm going to go Wilm, Hilpert, Wilm to end off the year. And we'll try to make decisions in the comments for next one about who's going to be the NHL backup in the playoffs. So here against the Sharks, we'll fly through this one with Wilm between the pipes. Sorry that it's all these slow sim games to end this episode. It must be a bit of a drag, but we got to see who the better goalie will be, better goalie option. First period, 1-0. Second period, 3-2 for the Kraken. Marco Tikhonov and Beniers scoring for us on Jonas Korpisalo. 2 goals and 11 shots past Peyton Wilm. I don't know. Is Peyton Wilm even the starter into the playoffs? He barely has a 900 save percentage. At least he's woken up a little bit here. But 2 goals and 11 shots. And it ends 4-2 the final. Chychrun adds the empty netter. Shots 39-23 and we barely win off of an empty netter. I don't know. Peyton Wilm, buddy. Come on, man. Come on. So we'll go Marcus Hilpert for this next game here against the Vegas Golden Knights. Nathan McKinnon 1 point away from 100. We've clinched the conference and the division as well. Great news for us there, as we've just clinched beating out the St. Louis Blues. I'm going to go Hilpert with Wilm backing up, but I might even go Freddie Anderson for the last game of the year. I don't know, because Wilm has not been impressing me. What's his save percentage on the year? 902 save percentage. Like, he either goes crazy with the shutouts or he lets in, like, even if it's 3 goals, it's 3 goals on, like, 14 shots, and we are getting 2 goals on 40 shots. That's the problem. At T-Mobile Arena now, second to last game of the year, game number 81 of 2029-30. Oh boy, here we go. First period, 0-0. Second period, 1-1. Kobasu and Patrick shorthanded. And third period ends 2-2. We're headed to overtime. Shots 33-29 for Vegas, but it's 2-2. Mckinnon on the power play goal, scoring his 100th point of the season. Any overtime heroics, and there are from Maddie Beniers. We don't always win in overtime in the slow sim, but we get it. There are 2 goals. And so 32 saves on 34 shots. Marcus Hilpert, first star honors. Man, it's not easy. There are 3 goalies who are playing very well, and I think they're all playing better than Peyton Wilm. So I don't even know who our starter is going to be. Forget the backup. I don't even know the starter. So I'm going to go ahead and give Freddy Anderson this final start on the road at Bridgestone Arena, looking for win number 55. All right, Freddie, your time to shine. I don't know what the franchise record is now in 9 seasons. I forget what our franchise record of wins is. It's around here. It might be 56. I don't know, but we're looking for win number 55, which would be one of our best regular seasons of all time, actually. Let's do it. First period, 0-0. Second period, 1-0 Kraken. It's Pasi Lume putting us up over Yaroslav Askarov between the pipes for the Predators. 1-0 into this third period. Power play Seattle, nothing coming from it, as we're out shooting the Predators 30-23, but it's still a slight 1-0 lead. I'm looking for the big dogs. I'm looking for someone in the top 6. 3 minutes to go, or we can just hang on tight here. Askarov putting on a show, and bang! Freddie Anderson, 27 save shutout from the 40-year-old, and what was likely his last regular season NHL start. 27 save shutout for second star honors. Pasi Lume with the game-winning goal. Askarov made 36 saves, but Freddie Anderson, my goodness, it's not easy to make this choice. It is not easy at all. So thus concludes the 82nd game of the season. Did everyone play game 82? Yes, they did. Wow. 1-0 win to end off the year and get us win number 55. Let's take a look at the season that was here in 2029-30. The entire NHL. The Seattle Kraken win the President's Trophy. Is that the first time ever? It might be the first time in franchise history to win the President's Trophy, despite having 3 Stanley Cups. Is it? Or am I just delusional? All the years are blurring together. The Shane Wright career sim blurring in as well. But number 1 in the West, number 1 in the Pacific, number 1 in the NHL. 55 wins, scoring 3.77 goals for per game and 2.66 against per game. Our power play of 27.4% is the best in the NHL, second only to the second to last Pittsburgh Penguins, who had 25.8%. And our penalty kill of 84.4% was among the top 12, 15 or so. All right, so a great year in Seattle, a franchise-type year. Let's see how it all shaped up in the points. Nathan McKinnon, 101 points from the 34-year-old, just carrying us through. This is his 4th 100-plus point year with the Kraken. Now in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, his 7th year with Seattle. Wow. One of the best of all time. 1,446 points in just over 1,300 games. Unbelievable stuff. Maddie Beniers, 90 points in 80 games, and it's a 40-goal campaign. Is that a new career high in goals? Yes, a new career high in goals for Maddie Beniers, despite missing 2 games. 40 goals and 90 points, new career high in points as well. Another career year. Maddie Beniers, let's go, buddy. Isaiah Marco was just over point per game with 79 in 78, consistently over that point per game mark. Let's go back to sorting by year. Not as much as last season, but 4 less games. I don't blame him. 32 goals, more of a playmaker with 47 assists. Vitaly Popov, 69 points. His previous career high was 52. Just an Apple machine out there with 59 assists, more assists than he had career points. Alex Tuck, 66 and 82. He slowed down a little bit, but still much better than last year when he scored 54. So again, much more passing. He was doing very well. Shorthanded, even he had a few shorthanded goals. That was great. Chris Moss, 38 goals and 65 points, career highs in both those categories, now in his 4th NHL season. He has 117 goals and 216 points through 326 NHL games. Last 3 years being hovering around 30 goals, and this year to 38. Love me some Chris Moss. 5-star shooting, a 2nd-round pick in 2024. Jacob Chychrun, 62 points. As I always continue to say, with the Coyotes, was never more than 20, 30 points or so. Comes to Seattle, the reclamation project of Jacob Chychrun, and he, in his second full 82-game season, puts up crazy numbers. 62 points, 13 more than last year, a plus 25. I absolutely love it. Vladimir Tarasenko, 38 years of age. He scores 33 goals and 57 points. And just last year, 22 and 48. Thought he was slowing down? Nope. 33 goals, the most that he has scored since 2022-23, his 2nd season with the Kraken, and his most points in just a couple years. So not as much passing, but he was shooting like an animal. 33-goal year from Vladimir Tarasenko. I cannot put into words how much this man has meant to Seattle. Wow, man. Wow. Asher Maloney, 48 points in 82 games. I'm glad that we kept him. Did what he was expected to do. Another solid playmaking year from Asher Maloney. Rickard Bergenheim in his sophomore season puts up 39 points. Very nice. His junior season. Now in his 3rd full NHL year. Yeah, 39 points, new career highs in goals, assists, and points. Very good. Pasi Lume, 34-point year from him, 19 goals. So good to see him bounce back a little bit from last year. Struggling a little back down to 28, but now back up to 34, despite only getting about 8.5 minutes a night. So maybe next year he becomes a 3rd liner if Tarasenko retires, but we'll have to see what happens in the offseason. Ethan Bear, 27 points plus 37, can always count on him. Eli Manning from the NFL to the NHL in his first full NHL. No, he played last year with the Coyotes. So new career highs in goals, assists, and points in his 2nd full season. His first with the Kraken, 26-point year from him. Down on the 4th line, love that. Bowen Byrom ends up scoring 21 points in 41 games on a pace of 42 points, which would have been, of course, just like the reclamation project of Jacob Chychrun, much more than he was doing on Colorado. So he's going to have a great first full season next year, barring any injuries, hopefully. Vitaly Tikhonov in his rookie season, 4th-line centerman, hopefully our 3rd-line centerman next year, 18 points in 82 games. I liked what he did. 4 game-winning goals, only 8 minutes a night, but he has 4-star shooting. I think he'll be good next season. Kobasu played first pair minutes, over 23 minutes a night. Only 16 points, but a plus 12. He did okay. Braden Kobasu did well for what we asked of him. Kozlov, 13 points and a plus 26. Mr. Consistency, the rock on the blue line. He has not missed a game in like 3 years. 400 NHL games played now, 71 points and a plus 89. Love to see that, as he's still signed for 2 more years after this one. Caleb Rolson in his rookie year, 12 points and a plus 29 from the rookie. Really impressive. Tiny Morrison, 5 points and a plus 8 through 41 games on a pace of 10 points, which still would have been lower than the last 2 years that he did of 82 games. So I don't know what's going to happen with him in the future. He needs to grow or else it's not going to work out. Comfort, 3 points in 6 games. Now to the goaltending. Peyton Wilm goes 39, 13, and 5. 5 shutouts, 902 save percentage, 2.75 goals against. Freddie Anderson, for his totals of the season, 12, 3, and 1 with 3 shutouts, 938 save percentage, 1.85 goals against. Just with the Seattle Kraken. He only played in 4 games, and he went 3-0 and 1. 1 shutout, 941 save percentage, 1.72 goals against average. I would think about starting him in the playoffs, quite frankly. And Malik went 12, 6, and 2 with a shutout of his own, 913 save percentage, 2.42 goals against average. Very impressive numbers there as well. Then you go to the AHL. Hilpert, he's been horrible in the AHL. But in the NHL, 3 games, 3 wins, 932 save percentage. I don't know why it's 1.97 goals against. It should be 2. No, I guess it's maybe because of minutes played or something. Yeah, it must be because of that. 1.97 goals against average, 3 games, 3 wins. Hilpert's been great as well. So I don't know what to do for the goaltending. That's going to be the biggest thing to think about down in the comments heading into next episode. Quickly just looking around the entire league. It was Boris Svitov with 119 points winning the Art Ross, 96 overall, first overall pick back in 2022 to the Buffalo Sabres. Matthews, Marner, and Eichel all tied with 110 points. McDavid and Shane Wright both with 101. Come on, let's see Shane Wright. There he is on the Coyotes. I wonder if that will happen in the real world. Kernkovich, 99 points. It's crazy, this guy. I don't know how he does it year in, year out. With Draisaitl and McDavid, I guess it's not hard. Maddie Beniers up there with 90. Of course, McKinnon 101. Denisenko 90. Kent Johnson. Alexis Lafreniere. Alexander Nylander, of course, the 85 points. He ends up getting that many. Panarin point per game. Looking at goalies in the NHL now. Most wins went to Jeremy Swayman with 45. Wilm right behind him. He was... Did Wilm win the Vezina last year or was it the year before? But Peyton Wilm, still a strong season despite his numbers not being amazing. But, you know, look around the entire NHL. It was pretty, you know, it's par for the course. So shout out to Philip Gustafsson, 912 save percentage, 2.8 goals against average, former Seattle Kraken. If we look at minimum, let's say minimum 40 games played, and then sort by save percentage, the best is 925 to Cal Peterson, who only played 42. Look at the only the big starters: Spencer Knight 914, Shesterkin 914, and still all of them over 2.5 goals against per game. So it was a high scoring year in the NHL. So I'm not really upset with Wilm's numbers too much. It's just that I'm more impressed by the crazy numbers from our 3 other options in the crease. And yes, Wilm is coming off of a Vezina trophy. So, you know, I guess, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Just keep that in mind. He's coming off a Vezina trophy, and he could be losing the crease headed into the playoffs. I don't know. It's a disrespectful. Like, I don't look at the numbers, right? You gotta look at the numbers. So I'll stop it there for the points. Let me know if there's anyone that you want to know point totals for, players that we traded away or other guys you may be curious about. I can go ahead and tell you their totals in the comments down below. Caleb Rolson is healthy and ready to go for game number 1 of the playoffs, so we'll put him into the lineup over Tiny Morrison. In round number 1 of the postseason, we will be facing the Winnipeg Jets, who went 44, 35, and 3. So I won't go through their entire lineup, but just to quickly give you a little sneak peek at the Winnipeg Jets. What kind of players will we be facing? What kind of talent will we be up against? Caulfield, O'Reilly, Ehlers, Bratt, Perfetti. Defense isn't super impressive, and Shesterkin between the pipes. So there are some of the names we'll be thinking about against the Winnipeg Jets next episode. So the goalie situation is the biggest thing we have to think about. The goalie controversy, the goalie carousel we have to think about headed into next episode. If you want to think about some potential contracts we could send out, guys like Asher Maloney, they're wanting a lot of money. We have 11.325 to play with, so think about all these players. We'll look at growth and all that stuff and the draft after the playoffs, so don't need to concern ourselves with that just yet. And also shout out to Vladimir Tarasenko, who passed 1,000 points in his career. I forgot to make note of that. He passed 1,000 career points. What a leader. So I'll go ahead and wrap it up there, my friends. Thank you for watching. What an episode here. 55-win season. The goalies are bouncing off the walls. Who is the starter? Who is the backup? And who's third? Who's fourth? How do you rank? That's what I want in the comments. Give me your 1, 2, 3, and 4. How do you rank these goalies headed into the postseason? I'm expecting lots of answers. Even if you've never commented before, I want to know your thoughts. I'm desperate for your thoughts. I want to pool it all together and see what the most popular answers are, and that's what we will roll with via democracy headed into the postseason. In the next episode, if we win the cup, I think we'll wrap it up. If not, we'll run it back for year number 10. We'll see what happens. But be sure to leave your thoughts down here on YouTube or over in the Discord server. The link for the server, as always, is in the description. If you haven't already subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. Joining on, becoming a part of the team. I want to engrave your name on the Stanley Cup, so make sure that you are subscribed. Leave a like if you enjoyed the outcome of this episode. I know I did with 55 wins. Be sure to check out some of the other recent uploads on the channel, analyzing and predicting rounds 1 and 2 of the real-life playoffs, the NHL 22 Shane Wright career simulation. A lot of fun stuff happening here on the channel, and it'll be that much more fun with you joining in on it. So thank you so very much one last time for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to reading all of your suggestions and your rankings and seeing you again in the next one.